Hello, welcome to another edition of the Low Code Campfire. This is episode number 214 for October 3rd, 2025. Today I've picked a one big topic, changes large and small, but not to get too worried about that. I'll explain in a minute. I am Dale Warner, head of support for Plantain App, and this is an event that we do every week. That topic, changes large and small, is not big changes coming to Plantanet, but rather wondering about what techniques you use to manage changes on your website. So that gives you a chance to think about where we're going next. Um, but as I said, this is an event we do once a week, Fridays at 10 a.m. Central Time. It's an all skill levels welcome event. So we hope if you're watching this in replay, you'd consider joining us in the live event. We record all of them and put them on YouTube. That's how you can watch them in replay. So go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/plantainapp, and subscribe. We run this agenda week by week. We say hello because we're a friendly group. We'll go around the campfire and pick from a variety of things, like we always do first call, and then anything you submit in advance, we'll put that on the list right after that. And then we look around at some of the other things that are going on in the Plantain App community. After an hour, we go to the Afterglow segment. That's where we turn off the recording, raise a virtual adult beverage, enjoy each other for a few more minutes as we contemplate the beginning of the weekend. So do engage with us. If you do want to submit topics, questions in advance, you can email them directly to me, support@plantainapp.com. Hello, all.
Hello, Dale. Hello, Dale. Hi, Dale.
You're you're killing me. Okay, here we go. Mark, did you happen to come with something that you wanted to talk about?
Um, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. No.
No, that's fine. There's plenty of stuff that we can do, but I have to call on you directly because you're the only one here so far. Um, Great. Let's go to my topic, which was changes large and small. I got thinking about this today and thought that at some point this might be a good topic for a low code cafe because there's some things I have in mind. Okay, so the question is, you've got an active website. You're going to be making some development changes. Um, the level of depending on what depending on the site you're working on, it can be anywhere from making a change live in production all the way to you're going to roll out a whole bunch of new features and you're going to carefully orchestrate that it all happens on next Thursday, right? So you've got a lot of things that you've got to do, different forms, different listings, different data. How do you accomplish that? And it sounds like to me a practical topic that depending on your organization, you're going to want to pick from those extremes and figure out how to do it. So I was just curious uh, what topics you would put on there. Hello, welcome. The group is now expanded from two to four, so welcome, welcome. Um, do you have any thought starters, anyone, or shall I throw out some things?
Why don't you get us started?
Okay. So, at the early at the shallow end of the pond, you're going to change something relatively small. You go in and the site's live. Maybe you don't have a ton of visitors, and so you just go in and edit the form and you're done. Or the listing, you're done. You add a column, you add a button, whatever. That's sneaking it in there. Um, Maybe a slightly more um, complex thing. You've got a lot of visitors to the site. You want to you want to have a nice consistent experience. So another way to do that would be you schedule some downtime. You've got some plans to do for the site. You say it's going to be maybe you have a yeah, you just set a development window. Site's going to be down on Saturday. You bang out all the work all at one time on Saturday. So those are kind of the simplest forms of that. Um, does anybody find? I mean, uh, is that the way you work, or do you find a more advanced pattern?
Well, good morning, everyone. I
Hey,
would not necessarily say it's more advanced, but it's perhaps different. Um, Many times, what I will do is make copies of the areas, the pages that I'm looking to make changes to, um, put them off in a quiet corner, and then make the changes to them, test them, and then either swap them out, typically swap them out. So that's one approach. The other thing that I've done is um, along the same lines. I've done wholesale um, redos of particular areas within the one of the sites that I work on. So it's kind of an end-to-end thing, and then QA the whole, second generation, if you would, of it. Doc, QA it, document it, and then simply retire the old version, and bring the new version live. And it's got its challenges, but for the most part, it works okay. Doesn't work great, but it works okay.
when you say bring the new version live, are you saying you're working on a clone and bring the clone live, or?
Well, it's all on the same site,
Hmm.
so it's not a clone of the site. Um, it is specific chunks of functionality within this overall thing that I'm building. So I'll take, managing customers, let's say. I'll make a copy of that entire area or just a subset that I'm working on, put it somewhere, make it different names, give it permissions that only certain, I have a testing role, for
Hmm.
example, that only people with a testing role can see. Um, Work on that, go through it, test it, debug it, document it, and then when the time is right, the documentation is done and ready to go live, just uh, typically use those new URL, page paths as my new, um, as production, and then simply retire the other pages that used to have this functionality.
Hmm.
So,
So the links change
mm,
in that case, but it's okay in your scenario. You're controlling the links anyway.
yeah, it's all kind of button driven. So, menu button driven. So I have control over that. At least I think I do.
We make heavy use of the 301 redirect functionality for that purpose.
Can, can you say a few more words on that?
Oh, and for like, so if we're creating new pages for new functionality, for changing functionality for something that already exists, um, when we do the what you were saying, Matt, about doing testing on the new pages and everything, and then when we decide to retire the other pages, we use the 301 redirect on the new pages, so to so the old URL still um is uh is effective. It goes to the new place.
So in your case, are you not, in my case, all of the users are navigating with the path that I define,
Well, it's
meaning buttons and menus.
yeah, sure, yeah, but it's just in some cases, like for right now, actually, like, this is fresh on my mind. We're working on a whole new profile page, and when we're done, the we'll add in 301 redirects on the new profile that contain the old profile paths, just in case somebody's bookmarked something. Doesn't have
Yeah,
to. Yeah, it's just a fail safe. That's all.
yeah. Okay. Cool.
Nice. Anyone taking advantage of having a complete clone of the site? Versus working in a quiet corner?
Yep.
Yeah, I do it that way when I'm making big changes, like a theme change. But it could definitely work the purposes that you're speaking of, changing big programming issues. Yeah, I'll take advantage of it. It's a good way to model it and make sure it's working perfectly on a different copy before going live. But there's obviously the data consistency problem. So you
Right,
have to
you've
deal
taken a
with that.
copy of the data, it's off, it's the data in the site is advancing, and so now you've got to reconcile the two. You either have to bring your development into the production or roll the production data into the other one. So is that what you mean by data consistency?
Right.
Do you have a preferred pattern when that comes up?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you anymore. I think it's
Ah,
my problem, so I'm going to drop
oh,
off and
okay.
come back.
All right, sorry about that. Didn't mean to put you on the spot. I know prior to my role at Plantain App, I was doing some maintenance for us. I was a primary developer on a site and had a complete clone and would do the development and make careful note of what things I was changing so that when it was time to go live, I would bring those into the production environment versus trying to swap a site in and move the data. So anyway,
So in my pre-Plantain app environment, that's what I did. Also, I just with Plantain app having the tables in the database with the code, I found that to be problematic. So
mhm.
that you know, I would prefer to have a second site that made it easy to just do all my changes there and then promote it. To do that, we'd have to have all our data out in another database to make it smoothly.
Mhm. Um, I know too that sometimes I make changes, like if the changes are localized to a form, uh, that I might add features and conditionalize them. That's something that's on the query string. So, for example, if there's a new field on the support form, um, the field's only visible if you have the version 2 flag on the query string. So I can work on it. You guys can still enter support tickets. When I'm happy with it, I remove the conditions.
Yeah, I have done that as well on kind of minor, like to your point, minor form changes until you cross the T's, dot the I's. It's only visible to a subset. And then when you're ready, take off the condition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used that same method when I was working on our new multi-factor authentication project. For a while, it was only available if you had a URL parameter in the URL.
Yep.
And then when it was ready, just took that off and changed some conditions and set.
All right. Any other favorite patterns that I should, again, for some those that came late, I'm picking your brains for a future low code cafe episode of just rubber meets the road development techniques, things that people use, things that we patterns that are better than others we recommend, that kind of thing. So if you wake up tonight and think of one and you want to email it to me, I would love to include it. All right. I will move on. Since we've had some people join since we did first call, I will also ask, did anybody show up something that you wanted to talk about? If you can't tell, I came away from last week's meeting thinking I tried to talk far too much. So I'm trying to leave more room for you guys. Not that I got any feedback. You're all very nice to me and you didn't say anything, but I felt like I was over talking too much. All right, we'll go on to there weren't any new posts in the community forum since last week. There were some documentation updates, and I like to show these good things as they're show regular progress here. And this one, this topic ends up driving us into another thing I wanted to talk about. It's kind of a dark corner and a contribution that I made into the community Campfire website. But in the documentation, we have UI components, which include forms and listings. And so I did a little bit of rearranging here on the, we had uh, different topics about fields. And so there was, I've made that now into two level for fields and then the things that fall under fields. So a little organization maybe to make a little more sense. But this new topic, data sources, there are a lot of data sources, and I don't know that we've done a very good job of documenting how you can take advantage of them and how these are being used, for example, in the fields like drop down and I mean, they're available in a lot of different places. Oh yeah, here we go. So, um, oh, these are the different kinds. So there's drop downs, radio buttons, drop down with autocomplete, all these different ones. And as I was looking at it, there's this one sortable input, and I haven't used it much. I don't know. Is anybody on the call using sortable input? Going to spend a few minutes on that today.
No, I have not. Be interested though.
Yeah, it's a very cool, very easy one. So, but all of these different field types can be combined with all of the different data sources, and there's more here than I've got listed. So, but this will get you started. I have my favorite tool that I use all the time, SQL query. I've got data in my database. I just want to fill up a drop down with some values, and so I write a SQL query. Bing, bang, boom, it's done. But there's a lot of different other varieties, and so they all kind of work. You can pick one from column A and one from column B and put them together and get a result. So I documented that. So that's a thing there. And then another one is in our actions section, and this is laid out according to the way that they appear when you're trying to pick an action. We have a set of search actions, and some of these were elsewhere within our documentation, so I've kind of moved, put them where they belong here under search. But, and I think, yeah, we touched on this one last week that there is this perform search action. And so linking it to the low code cafe where it came from and explaining what it does and how to use it. So we have perform search. You can remove records from search. So that's one. Uh, you can control indexing a rule, indexing a behavior, and so all this stuff with search all together being documented. So that's little improvements as we go. Try to do some once a week. Keep moving it forward. Any questions about any of those before I move on? So let's do sortable input. I have started this as a contribution. It's not, it's, whoops, the wrong one. Let's close the wrong place here. Here we go. So sortable input renders like this. Whatever your data source is, you can fill up a what looks to be kind of a drop down kind of a thing. But if you want to, you can rearrange things. So whatever you think is the highest priority. So for example, if we want the preferred phone as being the main thing, we can click and save that order, and now it'll be this order, preferred phone first, followed by current home and whatever. If I refresh the page behind the scenes, it has manipulated the data so that um, those settings were saved, and so that's the impact. And maybe we take a look at what it does, and how it works. So I always, when I'm working with a new tool, I find it valuable to have a show values kind of a button available to me, and I've done that here. And it dumps data out in a JSON format, which I'd be happy to show this technique. I have showed it before, but the data that's coming from the form looks like this. We have the sortable input has the value, the IDs showing in order, and then sortable input text has the, and I suppose I could scale this down a little bit so that we could see it. So we can see preferred phone, current home, home phone, whatever order that you have these in, you get an output that shows the text things. But the one that I took advantage of is the JSON array. Um, and I note that the JSON array is the same thing as the value. I don't know that they're ever any different, but um, the at the point where the button is clicked, whatever button you use, JSON array is created, and we can take advantage of it. So it's the whatever the current order is. Again, these are IDs. So let's look behind it. If I open this, first of all, the sortable input itself, the data source that I picked is an entity records, and that's really what I was documenting. We have this entity records data source. It was introduced in, I think it's in 127, the current version. And so anytime that you have an entity and you want to let people pick or sort or whatever you're doing, anything that needs a data source, you can just pick the entity off the list. And I'm picking app question, something I did in them 4 years ago, I think. Um, and I'm saying I want to put it in order by rank in ascending order, and I'm executing a where clause against it. So one of the reasons that I'll just, bop around a little bit here. One of the reasons that we added an entity records data source is that with our starter plan, that doesn't come with access to the SQL select kind of data source. So we wanted to make it a nice, easy way for people to get their entity information into these drop downs or sortable input or whatever you're working with anyway. So it might help to visualize the data a little bit. I added a button so that we could do just that. So this is where the data is coming from, app questions, and it has field codes, which is what we've been looking at on the sort. It has a rank, and I've got it here from low to high. So when we're sorting, we're impacting this rank. So if we make fax phone be the top one in the list and hit save order, that if we refresh this, fax phone now becomes the lowest one on the list, and everything else shifts down. So that's kind of the problem I'm trying to solve, letting you put things in order. And so very easy to get them to be displayed with this sortable input field type. I hadn't noticed this. You can pick a different. We've got we've got these bars here. That's the symbol, but you can use. It looks like you could use any symbol that you want for the icon. Position the icon, drag it by icon only, but pretty quick to configure. So once you've got it, I'll just quickly mention my show values. I've added it as a button. I actually added it as a button type link so that it's off there to the right and kind of quiet, but only 2 actions, and I do this all the time. So the context to JSON object or array, in this case I did the object one, and storing everything in a token called tokens. You can call it whatever you want, but storing it in a token called tokens in my case. Then a display error message tokens. So this takes everything that's in your context and puts it into a token called tokens, and this displays them in an error message. So we get the result. 2 actions gets your whole form dumped out so that you can look at what the form is doing. So that's a good debugging technique anyway. So when I saw that we had sortable input JSON array, that's the thing that I wanted to use. And so this has the when you're doing an entity data source, the values are the IDs, and the display name, right? The field code is the display name. And so that's the thing that's going to show up when you do an entity record source. Everyone know one display name. This is worth showing, I guess. In entities in app question, the properties, the field code is the display name. So this is the one that gets underlined, and this is also the one that shows up as the visible value in a data source. If we were to change this to the actual text of the question, this is automatically going to impact everything that uses that data source. So now what we're sorting is it's the same activity, and but the output is the question anyway. So that's configuring the sortable input rather, and how to show the values. So my save order is really quite simple as well. 3 actions, well, 4 actions, I guess, do it. I'm creating a list from this sortable input JSON array and calling it sort list. So this gives me something I can iterate through. And I'm executing actions for each item in the sort list. Notice that when you're doing this, there's this $index, and I'm taking advantage of this. So this is what I'm going to use for my sort. It's going to go in order through the list is going to get created in the same order as that JSON was. And so what I'm doing is partially updating the app question, the database where it came from. And the item that I'm changing is the current sort list item. Since when you have a very empty array like we see here, where the array only has just values, unnamed values, you can just use the sort list itself to get the current value of that item. And I'm updating it to the sort list $index. So the first one is going to get 0, and the next one's going to get 1 and 2 and 3. So very simple logic. And then finally just updating the form so it doesn't appear to refresh. That's the whole logic. Anyone see any use case for sortable input?
Yes, absolutely. This is so I currently do drag and drop sorting on the list on a list, and you've got to you've got to write, in my case, some SQL in the background to update to do exactly what you're doing here, but you have to use a list to do it. Not knowing that this existed, I now am thinking, because I've got an upcoming requirement to do drag and drop sorting of some other elements where this may just be perfect.
Yep. I see that um, I I could see certain limitations with this kind of thing, meaning um, I don't know how usable it would be if as the list becomes huge. If it were 100 items, it would still work, but what's the look and feel of that? But you might end up with the same thing on listings as well. So
Yeah, no, I've got a handful, less than 10. So
right.
this probably would be perfect.
So after we wrap up today, I will um, put some descriptive text here on the left to explain what this is all about and add it actually to the contributions item. But um,
So I have a question for you. Your sortable input results start with 0. Is that always the case? Because
well, so I took the easy way here, right? I create list from JSON and um, I'm doing an execute actions for each list entry. We're automatically getting a counter, and I'm just applying that counter to my, I'm getting an index so I'm just applying it, right?
yeah.
It's very, very low maintenance. If I wanted it to be by tens, for example, you might have to have your own token that you're incrementing each iteration. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, in my case, all I want to do is, I think, because I haven't really dug into it yet, but start at 1 as opposed to 0.
Right. So if you did want to do that, it would be easy enough to take the index and add one, and then use
Yeah.
that uh, with a do math token.
Yeah.
You can accomplish that. So that would just be like one extra statement, and then use that value.
Hmm. Cool.
All righty. Um, and then let's see where we are. We're good. That's all that I got to get contributed. I know we talked last week about doing a CSS for the calendar. Um, and well, I think it was for all the different views, in that. So that's something that's pending. And if you guys don't get talkative, I'll just start on it now. So I think that's all I have prepared. So time to decide. Do we have a new topic, or shall I dive into that?
Um, I can put out just like a general question for everyone and see if we have if it generates any discussion. If not, that's okay.
Perfect.
But we are in the process of trying to implement or trying to come up with a concept for a mega menu for the site to try to aid in ease of navigation. And I just wanted to put the question out there: does anybody have any experiences they've had, suggestions on the best way to go to implement that? And we're heading towards spinning our own, which is of course more work, but I wanted to see if anybody had experiences with an add-on or anything like that.
Patrick, do you use the Plant and App theme?
No, not where we would have. We do use the Plant and App theme, but that's on our back office stuff. So that's not where we would have the mega menu.
So I know I've looked at a mega menu before, but I don't have any recollection about what that looks like. Is it more about the style, or what's your objective in rolling out a new mega menu?
Hold on one second. There's a good example that I happen to know that why do names not come to me when I want them? The guy that's worked with Plant and App, Aaron Lopez. There's a good example that Aaron Lopez created that I am trying to find again here.
Ben has his hand up too while you're looking.
Are you contributing on this topic?
Here's I'll put it into chat. That's an example that I know the menu on this site Aaron Lopez actually created. And I like it. I like how it works. It's got visual appeal. It gives a little bit of information about the sections. So
Right. So not just a list, not just a lot of text and maybe an icon, but
right. That's the thing that we want. We don't want to go the direction of just it's not just giving people a long list of different pages. It's giving them a visually pleasing experience while also adding some extra information about where they're getting ready to go.
Patrick, have you looked at any of the? I believe there's a mega menu as part of the Easy DNN theme modules. I haven't really used it that much.
I have looked at it some. It definitely has some limitations. I haven't actually worked on using it to implement anything, but from what I saw, it seemed like it would be difficult to accomplish what we were going for, but I might dig into it more. And that what you just saw is from my understanding is that that is more of a spin your own approach. It involves some razor scripting and using Too Sexy.
You're referring to the Aaron Lopez approach.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Got it.
And of course, as Aaron often does, it involves a lot of Tailwind CSS. Did I get that right?
Tailwind,
Yeah.
yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Patrick, I used a mega menu with a Mandeep's skin or theme, and I found it to be very nice. Very nice to work with and very nice presentation. But I'm not using those themes anymore. So I don't have to tell you, I don't know if they have maybe they have a standalone version of the mega menu. It seemed like I had to install that separately, so there's hope there. I'd be tempted to build my own.
Yeah.
Ben is being excessively polite. He's had his hand up for a while.
I don't want to interrupt the train of thought. All I was going to say was that, and again, it depends on the limitations of what you are willing to use and accept, but the DNN Go skins, if I'm not mistaken, every single one of them has a built-in mega menu option ability.
Hmm. Yeah, I like those a lot also. But yeah, I'm not sure what the possibilities are of using a whole new theme like that are. And
Yeah.
Jen's on the call, so she's probably, you know,
Panicking.
I mean,
she's smiling. She's
there's, I will say one thing,
Yes, I
Linda
am.
is Linda from DN Go. I mean, again, I'm not trying to push their service. I'm just saying from my own experience, they are very, very flexible. And I have done this in the past where I had a client that it was dead set on a specific look of a website, a theme. And I reached out to Linda, and they went and actually recreated the look using their style of coding and basically created a custom theme for me that matched the color scheme, you know, the whole 9 yards. So it looked exactly the same as what the client wanted, but it also gave all of the additional DNN Go options that, you know, you're used to. So if it's something like you have an existing theme that you don't want to break out of and change, you could always reach out to Linda, you know, tell her, this is my website. I want to maintain this look and feel, but I want all the DNN Go type add-ons. They could look at your, you know, website and basically take all of those components, that color scheme and everything, build it into a brand new theme that you can install, and your website won't change its appearance. But
Mhm.
once you install it and change all your pages, then you'll have access to all the DNN Go stuff.
That sounds like you
Yeah,
could
we
also. I'm sorry. I was just going to mention you could also
no, it's good.
be incremental with that if it looks about the same, to be able to flip a page to the new functionality, not having to do it wholesale.
Yeah, and we have an easy DNN theme right now, Ozone, that I have kind of customized in some ways. Just, you know, I just kind of copied the template for the skin, and we just made our own templates for the layout, you know, made the layout different, but we basically include the Ozone theme. But the problem we've noticed with the Ozone theme is there's like any easy DNN stuff is it's really heavy. Like there's so much extra stuff, and the page load times are really long. And so what we have one of our people working on right now is a lighter theme that does work with DNN, and then he customized it quite a bit. But that theme I don't think has mega menu built in. Isn't that right? Is that right?
No.
It does not.
No.
So like a standalone module would be awesome if there is that capability, because we do, you know, we do have a lighter theme and everything that we could do, and I don't want to really start all over, but at the same time we really need something that's better than the menu that we have in this light theme is not working.
And these all, I don't know how to get to just themes, to just modules to see if there's a, yeah, to see if there's a mega menu.
Yeah, and I definitely looked some. I didn't find anything, but you know, it doesn't mean it's not out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good one.
Well, yeah, thanks.
Someone
So,
someone mentioned, do we use the Plantinap theme? Were you thinking that there was an easy way to do it?
No, that was my comment or
That
question.
way? I don't know who said that.
Yeah, I did, Matt. So the question was, if you're not using the Plant and App theme, then maybe you could take advantage of the one of the built-in theme or one of the themes with a mega menu. And I was thinking of, in this case, Ozone, but you guys have already been there, done that. So that was all.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
I'm thinking you could build your own with action form and a bunch of programming.
Yeah. Of course, I was thinking more along the lines of a bunch of Razor scripting, but it's
Yeah, you
daunting.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would be a lot.
Yeah.
I could also see doing it, exposing it through a token in a regular HTML module that you shared on all your pages, something like that. And the background could be workflows or APIs. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the realm of, yeah, you could do this.
Yeah.
But you're right to think it's going to be some work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Thanks. I thought it would be an interesting topic to discuss, so I appreciate the feedback. Dale's looking
Hey,
for something.
yeah,
Yes.
Dale.
Yeah.
Another topic. I submitted a feature request, and I want you to check my understanding of reality. The feature request was I would like to have a place to store my custom styles in an action grid. And is there already a place for that I'm just not using it right?
I don't think so, but I was about to open up the listing settings, so we'll just confirm this. But
Yeah. I tried
the
putting it in the header, and it didn't work. Maybe I didn't do it right.
the header.
Right there in the settings, there was a place for a header somewhere. Probably in one of the expandable places down there. There it is. Additional HTML header. I tried there. I tried putting it in script tags and without the script tags. So it's, there's been so many times that I needed some custom script classes, and I always resort to putting them on the page somewhere, usually with a form. And it just occurs to me there should be a place if I want to keep it together with the action grid.
Yeah, I ran into the same thing, but my solution was to just open up the module settings itself, and then you put it into the header or footer of the module, so it'll stay with
Agreed.
it.
Beat me to
But
it.
that's kind of
I was just
annoying
gonna
because you
say
don't
that.
know whether or not there's something in the header or footer. So when you're trying to go back and you forgot that's where you put it, then it's annoying. But you
Agreed.
can't see it. You can't see it right there in front of you. So but I know that I do that. So I just, if I can't find what I'm looking for, I'm like, oh yeah, I put it in the header, in the module settings.
Right. And if you're doing that, it obviously works on the page you're working on. But then if you copy that module to another page, that doesn't travel with. You have to redo that part because it's in the module, not inside the grid.
It should travel with because it's part of the
Yeah.
module. If you're exporting the module, the header footer of the module settings should go with it.
Yeah, I
I'm
think when
pretty
you
sure there's
make
a
a copy,
condition
it
where it does
does.
not.
Yeah, if you edit one, it won't edit all the other instances of the shared.
Right.
But so when you copy it, it does. But when you edit the module settings, it won't repopulate across all the shared modules.
Sure, I agree. Yeah.
Unless you have them linked up.
It goes with, but if you change one, it's only on that one.
don't know
So
what you
I'm
could
in the
do.
practice of, on many of my pages, I have an action form that is unique to that page, but it's always called the same thing. It's called page tools. And I do that on purpose so I know where to go on each page when I want to do stuff. So if I need some custom classes that are just going to be on that page, then I'll drop them in that form. And of course, that doesn't travel with, if I want to copy the action grid around, that's not going to go with. So it's extra trouble. But the thing is, I have to build that extra thing because there's no place in the grid. And it seems like most people would need this at some time or another. Seems like it should be there.
Yes, this feels like something that, I mean, we've talked many times about wanting to have an action stack, an on-page load kind of action stack
Mm.
for listings. And I think, for example, in forms, you can load content onto your page. I think you could probably do it with an action in a form, and but uh, without a without that the any kind of actions. Now we're looking for a kind of a custom or a specific feature in. Let me see. I'm almost making sense here. We have this form. Let me see if I look at this. Um, Load static files. Um, and I suspect there's other ones where you could get some. Um, well, okay, here it's right here, CSS URLs, right? So you could, um, if you had access to this on in an action form, you could get your own styles dynamically, right? So,
Sounds good.
um, so I guess what I'm saying is, if we were to solve, I mean, I understand your problem. If we were to solve the action stack problem on a on page load, we could solve a lot of problems, not just that one. So, um, but I think you're thinking about it correctly. There is no, um, I don't think there's a better place to put it that you just can't find. It is a real problem.
I don't know if this directly addresses the need, but I mentioned this on a call a couple weeks ago, on one of these calls a couple weeks ago. But I've been using more and more the page CSS feature, and to access it easily, even though we don't use on our main website, we're not using the page builder theme. What I do is I go in and I just put the page into I do a preview page builder theme, and then I use the cog, just like Dale's mousing over, to go into UI settings, and I add CSS into the page CSS there, and that's a really handy way to get the page CSS file created, and then it's just included on the page. And so I've been using that more and more recently. I'm often
But
putting CSS that I know is just going to be for that page. I put it into
yeah,
that file.
yeah. So if you wanted to follow the page, that's a good technique, and that's an interesting way to do it. If you want it if you want it to follow the module,
Yeah.
that's where you end up having to bring in an additional thing, and we've had certainly concerns about how long it takes a form to load. So um, anyway, but I will, Mark, I'll just let you know, I will bring this to the product committee for discussion about why it might be valuable to add to handle that requirement and so many more if we would just provide a on-page load
And
actions.
yeah, that's something that I've been wanting for years. Also, that ability to have some sort of action stack that you can load on when a grid comes in.
You know, Dale, that on-page load thing will obviously be awesome when it's implemented. This ability to add CSS to a grid, it might be a more simple task to get done, because you have a place to store JavaScript on forms. It's just one of the settings. You've got a place to store the custom HTML header. So I'm thinking in the settings, just give me a box to put my styles in. And I'm only thinking that if it would be easy to implement that, easier
Yes.
than doing the whole call stack. Yeah.
And you're right that it sounds easy to do.
Sounds easy.
And,
For what
well,
I
and,
said.
and it may very well not be a big development effort. And I'll just comment that this particular, if it were here, as you suggest, then the CSS is very visible. In the thing that I just mentioned, it would be adding a file. So now you have yet another mechanism. It's still hidden away, right? It might be in a common place, but you've got to figure out where it is and how to load it versus it just being here and traveling with the listing. So,
Operating under the KISS symbol, the KISS principle.
yes. Regardless, I'll still
Okay.
bring.
Thank you.
Dale,
Yeah.
in that load static files that you were showing, it had an ID field. Is that just a token it's creating, like a no return or null value?
Yes,
Identity?
to my knowledge, it has no impact. It does create a token. I've never explored it, but to my knowledge, it's just an extra. Yeah. But if you find any information to the contrary, let me know. That's a good question. In any case, we've made it to the end of another one. Thanks for joining in the low code campfire for today. We will do it again next week. And if you are inclined, hang around for a few minutes and we will go into our afterglow session.